What was that, Miami Dolphins? A Darnold dud. And my buddy Robert Turbin joins us to break down the day around the NFL. Let's start things off with your 2025 Week 1 Sunday Pig Pile. It is good eating all around when we kick things off for another edition of your Watch D.A. live on Sunday nights on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram Live, and the Wizard of Watch D.A., Andrew Kaplan, a.k.a. Cap, has delivered us that beauty of a graphic of me in an actual pig pile with a giant hog and footballs and helmets with Zubaz glasses. Now we've finally officially arrived. I cannot wait for tonight. I want to tell you guys, if you've got some exhale cocktails, tweet them at us at Damon Amendo and at Aiden, because we can collect those later on in the show and present those as well. My buddy Robert Turbin from NFL Radio SiriusXM will join us in just a few minutes to talk about the week that was around the NFL. But let's begin with your Furious Five. Wow. Wow, Dolphins. Wow. All I can say is you call yourselves an NFL team? You call that an opener? Nobody gave up the ship quicker in 2025 than the Miami Dolphins. We didn't even make it to week 2. Forget it. We didn't even make it to halftime of week 1. Daniel freaking Jones just toasted you. And the Dolphins, who are supposed to now be in some type of era of continuity, coach and quarterback, look worse than ever before. It took one half of football for Tyreek Hill to be on the sidelines throwing a fit. It took one half of football for the Dolphins to make Daniel Jones look like the second coming of Peyton freaking Manning. It took one half of football for Mike McDaniel and all of his charm of tremendous quotes, affability, stylish wear to look completely out of touch, and his team to have absolutely no respect for him. That's the opener. That's the opener. And for the Colts, yeah, it was an emotional day. Yes, they paid their respects to their owner, Jim Irsay. But historically speaking, what we witnessed today defies all logic. Because home or away, the Indianapolis Colts, death, taxes, and the Colts losing the opener. The Colts hadn't won an NFL opening game since 2014. The Indianapolis Colts hadn't won an NFL opener since the Ice Bucket Challenge was a thing. And here they were, absolutely tearing apart the Dolphins. Oh, how sad for Miami. Oh, my goodness, how pathetic. I will raise my hand here. I will raise my flipper. I have been a Mike McDaniel defender. I've been a McDaniel truther. I have felt like this is a guy that's very bright. He's very smart. He comes from a great coaching tree. He has the Shanahan roots and the 49ers branches. He's got plenty of I think, credibility and seemingly no ego, makes fun of himself consistently, self-deprecating, young, connector, offensive mind. Tua put up his best season ever under Mike McDaniel. I have always felt as though McDaniel's day will come and it'll all come together. I can't say that anymore. After today, I cannot say that. That's the opener. And it's one thing to look clunky on some opening drives. It's one thing for one part of the team not to look all that good and the other part of the team maybe to look average. There's no teams that are fully playing their starters in the preseason. But that was such a mess. And for the Colts to look that good, they're the Colts. That's Daniel Jones out there. I mean, my goodness, in terms of embarrassment level, what could top that? What could top that? The Dolphins have quit on the season, and we are 4 quarters of football in. That was a white flag. How many minutes until Tyreek Hill demands a trade? Did it already happen? Has it not been reported yet? Oh, my God. Oh, my goodness. From a Colts perspective here, I have been critical of their decision to go with Jones over Anthony Richardson because in my mind, it was what's the upside? That journeyman Daniel Jones makes you a 9-8 team versus Anthony Richardson, who might make you a 7-10 or 8-9, but at least you've invested this much time in a number 4 pick overall, so you might as well see it out to see if he's got something, to see if it's worth building still with him. But they pulled the plug, and look, at the moment, it looks like they made the right decision because on a day where Russell Wilson was supposed to be an improvement under center for the Giants, Daniel Jones looked amazing, and the Giants offense still looked putrid. Was it not a Daniel Jones problem? I mean, that was out of body to watch Jones do that. This stat, I'm still not sure if I believe it, but Scott Hansen said it on the Red Zone, so I suppose it is true. They dated back to 1991 to see if any quarterback had ever led 7 scoring drives in a football game, never punting, never turning the football over, and never kneeling. And they said they couldn't find one besides today, Daniel Jones. I find it very hard to believe that nobody has done what Jones did today, lead 7 scoring drives and have no turnovers, no kneel downs, no punts, but they said it, so maybe that's true. Again, what are the odds Jones looks that good? With the Colts offense? I mean, if Chris Ballard fell into this one, what a lottery ticket. My goodness, what a lottery ticket. Who would have thought Dolphins Colts was the most interesting thing that happened in week 1 of the NFL? All right, next up, in the early window as well, Aaron Rodgers returns to MetLife Stadium, where he spent so many iconic years of his career. Oh, wait. I thought we were going to get a good, if not very good, Aaron Rodgers effort. And I think we all have assembled here on a Sunday night under the Church of Watch D.A. and have recognized that I, the pastor here, have been extremely critical, if not at times personal, when it comes to my Aaron Rodgers distaste. But I thought we were going to get a very good Rodgers performance today because no matter what was fair or unfair, I didn't think the Jets treated him unfair. You knew Rodgers was going to frame it as it was unprofessional. I did not think we would have an Aaron Rodgers offense that looked that good, and that he would look that good. Now, granted, there's a couple of lucky bounces there. There's a ball that bounces from a receiver into the air, into another receiver, down back into the receiver on the ground to catch it. There is a 60-yard field goal there is some, magic that happens that might not have been Aaron Rodgers' reasoning or Rodgers doing rather. But he looked pretty good. He looked pretty good. And when asked after the game if it felt good to beat Aaron Glenn, since Glenn gave him his walking papers, he said, it feels good to beat anybody associated with the New York Jets. You knew he was going to take this thing personally. You just knew. Whether it was right or wrong, you knew he was going to take it personally. And I don't know if Rodgers can conjure that thing up for every week. He's not going to play the Jets every week. He's not going to play his former teams every week. But he might be able to conjure up. Everybody thought I was done. Everybody thinks I'm toast. Everybody thinks I'm old. Well, watch this. The Steelers signed Cam Hayward finally on the eve of the season. They gave Jalen Warren that money, so now he's the guy. They brought in DK Metcalf, and we all turned up our nose and said, for what? For what? Another 9-8, 10-7. You make the playoffs. You're one and done in the postseason. For what? For what? For what, Mike Tomlin? But today, even though it was not a dominant effort because the Jets nearly had it, it was certainly something that I think the Steelers fan is not used to much. An offense that looked really good and a quarterback that threw that many touchdown passes without turning the football over. Oh, well, that's a pleasant surprise. That was a pleasant surprise for the Steelers. Next up, Packers and Lions. This one, to me, is about the Packers proving that preseason belief, optimism is warranted versus last year when the Packers proved that preseason belief was not warranted week after week after week. They never played to their potential. The Packers throughout last season consistently let us down. And I say us because they were my preseason Super Bowl pick last year. Consistently through the year, they played down to competition. They couldn't beat the teams in their own division, and they just never looked in sync. They cobbled together wins, but they never looked in sync. And today, at least in the first half, and then finally to close things out, I thought you saw the Packers seem to be in sync on both sides of the football. So the Packers restoring some optimism in Green Bay that maybe last year was truly flushed down the toilet. The addition of Micah Parsons certainly gives people understandable optimism, and that maybe that Jordan Love next step forward, maybe the team that is supposed to be the here and now actually is going to deliver. But I think honestly, maybe even more of the story today is about the Lions. Because the Detroit Lions had a season last year that felt destined for at least the NFC Championship game, perhaps that elusive Super Bowl. They were 15-2. They had done it even without Aiden Hutchinson in the second half of the season. It was a team that seemed to be clicking on all cylinders, and this was the moment. They'd come out of that NFC Championship game loss with confidence, with experience, and hey, now it's our turn to kick down the door. And everything was cooking, and the coordinators were in place, and they had everything that they needed. And it ends with a whimper in the playoffs in that horrendous effort against the Commanders. And you come out of that and you lose Ben Johnson and lose Aaron Glenn. And there is plenty of conversation around the Lions of how bad will they take a step back? And today is a failing grade. That's a failing grade. That team in this division is probably who you're going to be battling with all season for the title. And they came out and they kicked your butt. And they kicked your butt up and down. And I didn't believe that Jared Goff was just a product of Ben Johnson. But boy, you look at today and wonder, was Jared Goff a product of Ben Johnson? Now, look, it's the first chapter of a 17-chapter story here. And there's a lot of ups that we'll have in week one and a lot of downs others will have in week one. And we will look back in 2 months ago, oh, Ray, remember that happened? And it won't mean a thing. But the Lions, if the concern was it will take them some time to overcome the losses of their coordinators, today does not ease that fear. Today looked ugly against the team that you were dominant over last year. That was the team you held out at arm's length and said, no, this is our division. And today, the entire script was flipped. The entire script flipped as the Packers were the bullies. We saw a debut under center in Seattle, Sam Darnold. And I would say mixed bag. I would say very mixed bag. And most of the mix was like those weird nuts that flake a little bit that you don't really want in that nut bag. I think what the Seahawks were doing was betting on a bit of a lottery ticket. That post Russell Wilson, they had pieced it together enough with Geno Smith, but they were really not a contender with Geno. They were okay. They were okay. They were a playoff team. They were a fringe playoff team, but they were not a true contender for the NFC. And I think with Mike McDonald there, the belief is we're turning the page from the Pete Carroll years. We want fresh starts, and we really want to kind of get to that next level like we had a decade ago. And Sam Darnold comes from a spot where he had elite coaching and elite weapons, and everything came together. And we all asked the question, is this really Sam Darnold or just the perfect scenario? Because if everything is perfect, Darnold can look like that. But it's rarely, if ever, going to be perfect. And if it's not, what does he look like? And today, I would say that you would grade him out as meh. And we'll see. We'll see. This is Darnold's first trip with the Seahawks, his first experience tasting this rivalry. Obviously, the 49ers and the Seahawks have played some real brutal, aggressive, physical games over the years, and now he gets indoctrinated into it, and he'll be better for it. But while the Seahawks have some pieces, Kenneth Walker in the backfield, they signed Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith-Njigba is a very good wide receiver. They don't have all of the pieces and all of the coaching and all of the fit that the Vikings did last year. They don't have all of that. And I would say that for the Seahawks brass, who believed they could replicate perhaps what Darnold did last season, today has to be a little bit of a, oh. Now, I'm sure they still believe, and they should. They signed him, they gave him the money. But that was either evidence that Darnold ain't never going to be what he was in his glory year with the Minnesota Vikings, or that the Niners defense is better than we gave it credit for coming into this season. I think a lot of people felt, including myself, like the Niners are a kind of an afterthought. But instead, we saw that Seahawks offense really struggle throughout the day to move the football consistently. Late in the game, you have the turnover. Maybe that's not necessarily Darnold's fault because you do have him going back to pass and it knocking into his right tackle's back, and it's a fumble. So maybe you don't blame that on him, but it was a slog for a lot of the day for Darnold moving that offense. Tonight, Sunday Night Football, Bills and Ravens, and I will be live after the game. That's right. It's a 3-show day for yours truly. This is when you know DA is working. And that's right. I just went third person. Sunday mornings on NFL radio with your Sunday NFL tailgate, Channel 88, 9 until noon Eastern time, previewing all the games. Watch DA live, Sunday Pig Pile, recapping all the games. And then after Bills games, I'm going live again right here to recap and chronicle this season of importance, of urgency, and of history. Final year in their stadium, coming off an MVP campaign for Josh Allen. the Chiefs lose the Super Bowl in embarrassing fashion, perhaps the window opens up a little wider for somebody else in the AFC. This is your moment, Buffalo Bills. So I'm doing a show after every Bills game, immediately reacting. So I'll be on the air after the Sunday night game right here following the action. And what happened on Friday night gives even a little bit more juice to tonight's game in Buffalo. It's really early, but guess what? One game in the standings oftentimes decides divisions, playoff seeding, and who goes where in the postseason. And the Chiefs have already been handed a loss, and a loss in their division. Now, the divisional part doesn't affect either the Ravens or the Bills, but the L does. Somebody comes out of tonight, and if we all agree the Bills and the Ravens are the two best contenders to knock off the Chiefs in the AFC to get to a Super Bowl, then somebody tonight is going to have a 2-game lead over the Chiefs. They'll be 1-0. The Chiefs will be 0-1. The Chiefs will have a loss in the division and in the AFC. And again, there's 16 more to go after these. There's 4 months to go, and this will be decided, I'm sure, in December, not in September. But both the Ravens and the Bills know it's much better to have the Chiefs come into your house and try to beat them than go to Arrowhead. Not saying it can't be done. Bengals did go to Arrowhead and win an AFC championship game. Not saying the Chiefs can't win in your house. The Chiefs have won in both Buffalo and in Baltimore in the recent postseason. But if you are talking about those blades of grass that decide things in the NFL, which is why I hate the international series. I hate it for a lot of reasons, but first and foremost, really important situations are decided in the NFL in the playoffs by one game. It happens all the time. One game or tiebreakers. Tiebreakers. I mean, look at the Lions getting the 1 seed last year in the NFC. Those are tiebreakers in one game here or there. So for those one games to be decided on neutral sites a million miles away, I hate. But because so much of the NFL's postseason playoff structure is decided by one game and tiebreakers, suddenly tonight is pretty important. Number one, because if it comes to a head-to-head tiebreaker and the Bills and Ravens, are both 13-4, let's say, and they meet in the divisional round. Well, whoever wins tonight's game is going to host that divisional round game. If they meet in the AFC Championship game and they have the same record, one team is going to host the other in the AFC Championship game. If the Ravens have a 1-game lead and they are 14-3 and the Bills are 13-4 and they win tonight you can say decided why the Bills have to go to Baltimore. And if both of these teams are 13-4 and the Chiefs are 12-5, guess what? Tonight, whoever wins this game, that's a massive step in the Chiefs having to go there in the playoffs. That's just the fact of the matter. Now, again, there's 16 more after this, but it does give tonight some significant juice that already the Chiefs have a loss and you can have a win. And in the grand scheme of things in the AFC, I think that's how small the margin of error is for the teams trying to take down the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, I'll be on the air after the Bills game tonight and breaking things down as part of my season-long series called Bill Matic, which is an homage to one of the great hip-hop albums, perhaps ever, certainly of the 90s, Nas's Illmatic. And nothing says 90s more than the Bills and Zubaz. So I thought it was kind of the perfect connection. And you guys know me in 90s hip-hop. So let's do this, shall we? All right, that is your Furious Five. And I want to also let everybody know tonight we got something pretty cool going on. I am going to try to give away some memberships here tonight, okay? Now, I'll tell you what's going on. This is the deal here. When it comes to being a member, we've called this the Jedi Council. Think of it as the circle of trust. I do this because there's a couple things. If you look in the chat right now, there's some amazing emojis going on. Like right now, Ruben has just messaged the Super DA emoji. And you love seeing the Rose of the Cat emojis. You love seeing the tacos. Backwards Brian had the making tacos. I see that there's a Morty D'Souza from Randy Trask. I mean, I just love seeing these. you can only use those custom emojis that are references to the show's ridiculousness throughout the years, my radio show and this show as well, if you're a member. And it costs less than, let's just say, an order from Taco Bell, okay, for an entire month to be a member here. Much less. It's $4. I mean, come on. That being said, we're doing an Ask DA Anything on Tuesday, September 9th, 9/9. And you got to be a member to do that. And it's a circle of trust thing. It's the people that come here and are really, truly, I know I can trust them, because that's a real honest space when we do the Ask DA Anythings. This would be the third one we've done. And assuming that I know how to use my own microphone, we get into some deep stuff. We get into some of my career stuff and personal stuff and stuff that I want to make sure stays within the circle of trust. Well, I wanted to make sure that we had people that were able to get in there if they're not a member as well. And so I wanted to give away some memberships tonight. And so the way that we're going to do this, assuming I can figure this out, because again, it's a lot of new territory we're trying to do here, but you have to put on accept memberships. Okay. So this is what you're going to do. At the bottom of the chat, you'll see a dollar bill. Okay. Click on that dollar bill. All right. That's the first thing you got to do. And this is if you're not a member already yet. This is how we kind of give away some memberships. Click on that dollar bill at the bottom of the chat screen. Then go to membership settings. It says settings in that pull-down menu. When you go to the settings with membership settings, it'll say accept gifts. Click yes, toggle yes. Now you can accept gift memberships. Now, I'm going to try to gift some memberships later on in the show, okay? I don't get to choose who they go to. That's YouTube's decision. And how does YouTube decide it? Based on the algorithm of who comments a lot, who's been a subscriber for a while, who's engaged, who watches all the videos, etc. That's not up to me. That's up to YouTube. But I want to give away some memberships. We're going to try to do that later on in the show. Okay. So stick with us throughout this show. After Robert Turbin joins, we're going to do that. And if you would like to gift others memberships, you can. Again, go down to that dollar sign, hit it, and then boom, you can gift other members memberships as well. So that will build the family, the trust circle that will join us, okay, on Tuesday night for the Ask DA Anything. All right. So that night is going to be pretty cool. You are going to be able to join us to ask me absolutely anything. And then boom, it's going to be awesome to be part of the circle of trust and to kind of build this thing out and have as many new faces and voices as humanly possible. And hopefully you enjoy what you do, what you say, what's been asked, and that whole experience. And we will have a damn good time as we have the first two times we've done it, as well as if I can get my microphone working. It should be noted that I'm very proud to announce that Santo Tequila has once again been a sponsor of the Sunday Pig Pile here on Watch D.A. Live. Last football season, Santo was our sponsor as well. And Santo said, we loved what you did last year. The guests were awesome. We want to send a bottle of Santo Tequila once again to all of your special guests. And so let's do it again. Let's run it back, Santos said. I said, absolutely, let's do it. That's amazing. So each one of our guests will get a bottle of Santo Tequila. Because we cannot simply give them away as prizes legally, Santos said, we still want to hook up the D-aliens. I said, great, what can we do? They pitched to me either a series of smaller gifts for more winners or one monster gift. And I said, let me ask the D-aliens. So let us know in the chat if you would rather have a lot of winners for some smaller gifts or one giant grand prize winner over the course of this season. Because the grand prize is pretty badass. And I'm not going to say what it is yet, but let's just say it's got a pretty hefty price tag. And I think it's pretty awesome, but I didn't know. Maybe we wanted to spread the love a little bit more. So you let us know what you think there, and we shall take that into consideration. And then when we got that all settled, we'll let you know how you can win cool stuff from Santo Tequila. All right. And once again, Santo is the tequila of Guy Fieri and Sammy Hagar. They have been very, very good to us. They've been very, very good to me. There's some cool videos that I have on this channel right now. I went down to Flavortown in New Orleans for Super Bowl week for Guy Fieri. And he absolutely hooked it up, and we had such a great time down there. I went out for a concert in Las Vegas with Sammy. Sammy was an amazing dude as well. Got to rub elbows with famous people, and that was kind of mind-blowing. Both those guys are amazing. Both those guys love what we're doing. Both those guys said, keep doing what you're doing. We love the show. We want to keep supporting you. So that's the effect you guys have had on this program and on my vision. I started this a year and a half ago, and I said, I believe we can do something really cool and really different in this space, especially the sports space. It means going live every week. It means building the family and community. It means bringing the people that I love together, the D-aliens, and it means making it really look different and sound different and be different. And I think we're doing that, and the fact that it's happening and the fact that extremely famous, powerful people are going, yeah, no, this is special. This is cool. We want to be part of it, is incredibly rewarding. And so much of that is because they see the family. They see the D-alien circle of trust. They see what you guys are bringing to the table, and they're like, this is cool. This is special. This is an intense bond everybody has with you and the show and each other. And I'm like, yeah. And they saw the Bob's Bar show, and they see all the comments, and they see all the videos, and they're like, this is really good. We want to be part of it. So that's a big ups to you. And I got my commemorative Apollo 13 glass here, a safe return on April 17th, 1970. That's not in focus right now, but there it is. I got this at a garage sale swap thing, like a swap meet type thing, and I just love this glass. So I use this when I want to toast to the good stuff. Salud, good health. Love you, D-aliens. You're making it work. Santo's delicious. Find it wherever you can in your local beverage barn and those that sell spirits. Keep the comments coming. And like I said, if you have an Exhale cocktail, definitely let us know all about it. I will also tell you that, again, Tuesday night is your Ask DA Anything. So make sure you remember before Tuesday night. We'll do that at 7 o'clock on Tuesday. And there's the merch store as well. Aiden, why don't we roll right now the merch store commercial? That's right. We have a merch store commercial to play. You got that right. And members do get a discount coupon to the merch store. Look at this. I mean, who would be the model? Oh, I would be the model. Roll the commercial. Bad, huh? I mean, production around here is really upped. Pretty good. WatchDAstore.com for your merch. That's just the feeling good, or that is just the feel good and doing well shirt that has everybody on it from the years of the DA show for both CBS Sports Radio and now SiriusXM. You had Babs on there and Lou and Britt from the current show. You had Aiden on there from Watch D.A. You had Katie Lindahl on there as well, the Gadget of Gadgets. And, of course, Mraz, Bogues, and Bellotti. So you can get that T-shirt right now, available in hoodie sizes as well, hoodie cut and women's sizes. Go to WatchDAstore.com. Again, WatchDAstore.com. We're going to have Robert Turbin join us coming up here shortly on the show. So I'm excited about that. Again, get your Exhale cocktails in. And we've also got a football food of the week coming up here, and it is good to see our friend and really my captain of the team, as I've said many times in the past, Kristen in Buffalo, Gal Fieri, getting back onto the football food of the week bandwagon. She's got to be so far along in her pregnancy. She told us back in June when she came to the Bob's Bar show that she was preggers. And so I did not expect her to jump back onto the football food of the week bandwagon, but it looks like she's driving it once again. And look at this. But they're coming back. Look what she did in honor of Sunday Night Football's matchup between the Bills and the Ravens, Buffalo, Baltimore, Maryland-style chicken crab cakes, topped with spicy remoulade and blue cheese crumbles. So that's a unique combo. Chicken crab cakes, spicy remoulade, and blue cheese crumbles. So the blue cheese, of course, for Buffalo, spicy remoulade, the crab cakes, quote unquote, chicken like a buffalo chicken. You got to like this. That's the creativity that Kristen brings to the table. And I can tell you, from the Bourbon Belle being pregnant 2.5 years ago with AJ, there is no way she was also thinking about creative ways to make crab cakes for football. Not happening. So I give her, this is why she's my captain, because she can compartmentalize and still get the job done, even in adverse conditions. We love you, Kristen. We hope the pregnancy's going well. Hopefully when I get up to Buffalo for the Bills and Saints game end of the month, I will see you there, okay? If not, we'll have a courier send you a gift from all the D-aliens, all right, when I get up there. It'll be straight from Highmark Stadium. All right, Sunday mornings on NFL Radio Channel 88, SiriusXM. I love this guy. I love doing shows with this guy. He's been such a great teammate. He played in the NFL for 8 seasons. He won a Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks in 2013. He went back there in 2014. He has great stories. He's got great insight. He's got a great sense of humor. It's been such a tremendous partnership playing with him on the radio, joining him for football, and just, being football teammates together. You remember him here on Watch D.A Live last season as well. He joined us. Let's give a big round of applause for my man, Robert Turbin. My man, Turbo, raise a glass. How you doing, my man?
That was quite the intro, man. I love you too, man. I love the music, everything. Wow. By the way, I heard you talking about some chicken crab cakes.
Uh-huh.
You already know what to do. Put in some ice. Next day, FedEx next day, air it to the crib. I need some of that.
It sounds good, right? Chicken crab cakes. Yeah, man. It sounded good.
It sounds
hey,
different.
Santo Tequila wanted to thank you for coming on last year. They sent you a bottle of tequila last year. Hopefully you enjoyed it. They'll send you another one for joining me tonight.
That's the best tequila I've ever had in my life. It didn't survive a week in my house. I'm telling you, the whole bottle, gone. Done. I barely got any work done, but it was worth it.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Santo's going to love to hear that, and you ain't lying. It is awesome. Well, so you got a history with the Seahawks. You grew up in the Bay Area, so you know the Niners well as well. I want to know what your takeaway from Sam Darnold's debut was today.
You know what? I felt like he was just unsettled, man, all game long. He just didn't really look all that comfortable. You can always tell when a quarterback has, happy feet, or he's getting rid of the ball sooner than he wants to, or he's overthrowing his targets. Like in training camp, he looked sharp. Man, he play action, getting the ball out quick, boom. It was man, he was on point. And today against the Niners, it was, almost the total opposite of that. He didn't look very comfortable at all, in the pocket. And so, I think there's some room for him to grow this season. He will. I thought that the play calling was a little vague, which is pretty normal when you're playing a divisional opponent. First game of the season, you want to show everything. But they've got some work to do, man, the Seahawks.
Is it a worry at all? Was that Niners defense? Was that Sam Darnold getting exposed after not having all of the weapons that he had last year? What would we say that was the reason for?
Okay, yes, on the worry. There should be a little bit of concern if you're a Hawks fan, A. B, you do have to give the 49ers credit. They're well coached. Robert Saleh is no joke as a defensive coordinator. He had those guys playing at a really high level. But C, I think it's fair. I wouldn't say I agree with this, but I think it's fair that if you have a thought in your mind that, maybe Sam Darnold got exposed, I think that's a fair assessment. The reason why I wouldn't agree with that yet is because, we still got 16 more of these to play. And I think you'd be able to be a better judge of, whether or not he got exposed after more, like a handful of games. Let's get into week 5, 6, and 7, and then come through with an evaluation of, how Sam Darnold's doing.
The one thing that was also apparent was Christian McCaffrey had a hard time getting on track as well. They gave him touches. He had that calf strain earlier in the week, but he played. He got carries. He got receptions, but it didn't amount to a lot of big plays. Do you think, again, that was the reason was because of the strained calf, or was that Seahawks D?
No, I just think it was a mixture of both. I think the defense for the Seahawks is legit. They displayed some really good things today, but I also think that you got to remember Christian McCaffrey, this is his first time playing in the game in a long time. And so whether you're a rookie or you're a veteran, there is a space to kind of get that feel back again, especially as a runner. Kind of feel that, get that swag back, just how it feels to be out there on a down in and down out basis. And so give it a few games for Christian McCaffrey. He's going to do fine. He did have the big play where he kind of pinballed off of one of the defensive linemen there for a big run down the middle of the field. So he made some plays today, and I think he's going to be fine the more games, he continues to play as long as he stays healthy.
When we were doing our morning show today, Sunday Tailgate NFL Radio Channel 88, we kind of joked about Colts Dolphins being one of the early games that we were talking about. Like, oh, this is one of the headliner games, but it ends up being a really noteworthy game because Daniel Jones looked awesome and because the Dolphins got absolutely waxed. I got to think that even though it's week number 1, that's got to be reason for concern for Dolphins fans, right?
I was already concerned before the game started. We talked about it this morning. I can't trust the Dolphins. What did I say? I said, okay, when adversity hits, because it will, it's a football game. How is the team going to respond? A couple early turnovers for the Miami Dolphins, and you saw it. They tried to do something in the second half early, but, man, once their back gets put up against the wall, once things aren't going their way, they tuck their tail. This is not like a team that's together. They're just not. You got a bunch of individuals in the locker room, and you have a coach who, unfortunately, is a very intelligent guy, but is clearly struggling with holding guys accountable. I don't know if he has the locker room anymore, even after week 1. To lose like that against the Colts, embarrassing, man. So, but this is no surprise to me with the Miami Dolphins. Honestly, I don't want to say I expected this from them, but it was certainly a thought for me in terms of, I think the Dolphins are going to be last in their division this year. I've thought that since the summer, and they're going to have to make some wholesale changes.
We saw Tyreek Hill frustrated on the sideline today, and the team, as you said, looked like it was not ready, it was not motivated, it was not sharp. Did that look like a team that is disconnected with its head coach?
100%. Now, I will give credit to the defense. I think the defense actually played really well in the first half, and they have a lot of respect for Anthony Weaver, former player, been on that staff, etc. But it was like, the defense got to a point where it's like, what more do you want us to do? Like, how many more stops do you want us to get? And so there's a trust factor that doesn't exist within the team, and there's a trust factor that doesn't exist between the team, its players, and the coaches.
Finally, this morning we were talking about the Bengals, pressure on. You can't lose again week 1 as a favorite to a big underdog. And, man, they won, but they had to hold on by the skin of their teeth. I mean, do we give them credit for not being 0-1, or do we still have questions about how they were 1-0?
This is a really good win for the Bengals, man. Really good win for the Bengals. Like, okay. I mean, come on. First of all, you're playing in the division. You're playing within the division, so it's already going to be difficult. Then, the Browns have a great defense. They always have a great defense. Myles Garrett, arguably the best pass rusher in the league. So you know it's going to be difficult. They got Newsom's a good corner. They got good players on defense with the Browns. So you know it's going to be tough sledding. Got a team that knows you really, really well. Got to see them twice a year. And they're actually really solid on defense. Why is this a good win? Because the Bengals defensively matched it. And that was the biggest question mark. We're like, okay, well, we feel like the Bengals can score 44 points. They didn't today. Okay. But guess what? They didn't have to, because their defense answered the challenge of being able to equally get as many stops as the Browns. And when they needed to make the biggest play of the game, which was the interception to seal it, they did. Last year, they weren't doing that. They were giving up. This year, they're ground. And that's why this was a really good win for the Bengals. Super positive heading into week 2.
It's a good take. Look, every Sunday morning, I can't encourage you more to listen to Sunday Tailgate. Turbo and I break down every single game every week, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, NFL Radio Channel 88. I mean it when I say it, man. You're one of the best teammates I've ever had in radio. I love doing that show. We bring energy, we bring fun, we bring information. It's just a phenomenal show, and it flies by. We do 3 hours. Before you know it, we're 2 hours in. Like, it's already 2 hours in. That's crazy, but that's just the sign a great show. So thank you, brother. I appreciate you joining me tonight. I know the listeners do as well. The D-Aliens are all over the chat right now, absolutely loving what you've been saying preach, Turbo. You're the man. I love this. So thank you, dude. I appreciate it. And your next Santo tequila bottle is in the mail.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah. I can't wait. I need like a D-Alien shirt too. Like representing the D-Aliens. You know.
Okay, we can hook that up. What size are you though? Because your pythons are like 70 inches around. So what size are we looking at?
Yeah, I might need like a 15X. You know.
Okay, I'll try to get the tailors to make a 15X.
You know what I mean? All good. That's what's up, bro. Man. Appreciate you.
Okay, man. Robert Turbin joining us, Super Bowl champion, SiriusXM, NFL Radio, and CBS Sports Network college football analyst as well. That is awesome. And again, that's 9 until noon Eastern Time on Channel 88 every Sunday morning on NFL Radio. Very excited about year number 2. All right, time now as we roll along, and we're going to be doing this every single week. If you're just joining us today for the first time, Sunday nights here. We get out before Sunday Night Football kicks off, okay? So we do the 7:30 to 8:30 Eastern Time, the hour before Sunday Night Football. We have a live guest every single week of the football season, former players, former coaches, sometimes current players, broadcasters, analysts. I mean, it's amazing. Aiden does such a phenomenal job producing this show, and I'm so excited about starting up another year of the Sunday Pig Pile. It is time for a few beam ups here on the show. And so, Aiden, come on in, the Marquette Marvel, and let's have you jump on here. For the record, as you do this, I want you to go full screen to you, and you can vamp for a little bit because I need to pop up my laptop, because with the laptop is how I can then, I think, deliver the membership. So give me a moment, and let me do that and get things all set up there.
All righty, time to take over here, because as I go full screen here, we are going to do a quick pivot as well to a segment that I loved from week 1 of NFL last year. This is year 2 of the Sunday Pig Pile. And why don't we do it? Because there's no time like the present. Let's do some Fitz magic. That's right. Fitz magic, where we look at the NFL's best fashion of the day. So let's go to number 1, and let's start with a rookie, Ashton Jeanty of the Las Vegas Raiders, with what looks like a sort of, can we call it a Where's Waldo type sweater here? I think he has the necktie there as well. Louis Vuitton bag in the left hand, right hand, that looks more like a snakeskin type of outfit. And then the chain out of the watch, out of the pocket, that's what that looks like to me. So Ashton Jeanty of the Raiders coming in at number 1. Number 2, Devontae Adams with what looks like the all denim fit in his LA Rams debut. And if you're looking for what the Marquette Marvel did this past weekend, week 1 of NFL had a wedding in Wisconsin, the home of Marquette. Congrats to my friend Lathan and his newest bride, Hannah, which is why we have to get set up with all the denim. Because let me tell you, folks, it was a Midwestern wedding like you read about. Florence, Wisconsin, the Upper Peninsula, stayed up in Iron Mountain, Michigan. That is the heartland of our beautiful country. Toby Keith was played all night. Tim McGraw played all night. And Devontae Adams would fit right in at that wedding as well. So that's number 2. And then lastly, Jonathan Taylor on your fantasy teams as well. How about this baby blue flower fit? He's looking like he's ready to develop a presidential campaign with some line like this, but all white in the Carolina blue as well with the flower print. I just love. We don't mix the tops and the bottoms enough these days. So that's what we're going to do. Mix the tops and the bottoms. And, Jonathan Taylor taking it home. The Colts took it home, like we mentioned, plenty enough this evening. So that'll do it for your Fitz magic. And it's the day's best fashion. We're ready to do it over the course of the entire football season in honor of Ryan Fitzpatrick. The dress here at the bottom, which I'm hoping some of you realize the old BuzzFeed reference of, was the dress white and gold? Was it blue and black? Throw that in the comments as well. So we'll just get rolling here with a busy week 1. And DA is back to join us after a long exodus of finding out memberships. Did that go okay?
Went perfect. This was so great. YouTube is legit. It helps you really grow the family, and I love them for this. We just sent out 10 new memberships, 10 new members joining for the Circle of Trust here. We got, and again, I just gift them, and it goes out to whoever YouTube decides is kind of like the most engaged non-members of the D-Alien crew. But Rob Bart gets a membership. Michael Jennings gets a membership. DC Fan 88 membership. Connor Long membership. And Jake Asman a membership. Jake, you've heard on Mad Dog Sports Radio. He's also been in our chat before and gifted memberships to you guys. I think 2 weeks ago he did that. He does a great Jets show. I've picked his brain on how to do all this stuff because he's been phenomenal. Great resource for me. So I love that they picked him. Jammin' John, Random Flag, Mr. Nebby, Chris P., and Eric Tarnopol also all get free memberships as well. So the gifts are going. We're like Oprah. We're throwing out the gift memberships, which means all 10 of y'alls can be in on Tuesdays, Ask DA Anything Circle of Trust night. You can also gift memberships in there. Again, go to the bottom, hit the $. It'll give you the option of membership gifting. You can give 1, you can give 20, you can give 100 if you want, whatever. But it just goes out automatically. You don't get to choose who it goes to. It just goes out to those they feel are most deserving, which I love. It's very democratic. I like that. No insider trading. Bada bing, bada boom. And away we go. So that is awesome. Welcome to the new members. That is freaking great. And I cannot wait for Tuesday as well. That's going to be on Tuesday night. And again, if you're not a member, you can sign up for a month, see if you like it, come inside the chat. And if you do, there you go. Also, there's exclusive member-only videos that I do consistently, which are usually based on the interviews that we do outside of sports. But sometimes there's exclusive videos as well that are just me kind of talking about anything and everything that might not have to do with sports as well. That's called the Raw Feed series, which is available on this channel. Awesome. Awesome stuff. All right, Aiden, let's do a little beam up here. You want to send me a few comments and we'll get into some?
Let's get into some because the NFL is back and Smitty Werben Jaegerman Jensen, one of our Jedi Council members, said, I had fun with fantasy for about 2 hours today. A new record. I'm talking to someone who retired from fantasy. I know, but my 2 leagues today, let's see. I got to be honest. After this wedding yesterday, I've paid not a lot of attention to fantasy. I'm barely trying to hold on to my actual NFL games today. But the Dolphins, who were fantasy darlings a couple of years ago with Tua and Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, if you're owners of those Dolphins today, probably not happy campers.
Yeah, I punted on fantasy a couple of years ago, but I'm sure if you're betting as well, which I did today, you are certainly also feeling the what the hell just happened train that runs through every week one of the NFL season.
Let's go to another Jedi Council member, Craig. What were some of the kickers drinking or smoking today? Hopefully Santo Tequila. Lots of missed kicks, maybe some short ones too. Did you notice that as much as Craig?
No. In terms of the and some of the kickers
Bad
today.
Kicking.
Yeah, I've seen some. I saw some shanks, but I didn't notice it being worse than some other weeks. But maybe I'm numb to it because of the college game. Been watching college the last couple of Saturdays, and that kicking is so bad that I kind of come to Sundays and just am happy that it's not as abhorrent as Saturdays are.
That's a fair answer. Let's do two more here because we're already slamming into Collinsworth sliding in territory. Real quick, you may have missed it during my little soft interlude there, but the dress, blue or black versus white and gold. My friend Brian here, who I'm actually going to dinner with in a minute, he goes blue and black. I'm a white and gold person. Do you remember this all the way back from like 2015?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was the gold one, like you said. I didn't see blue in that, if I remember correctly.
Okay, you're on the right side of history, so thank you. And we'll end with a final Jedi Council member, Wallace. Aiden goes to more weddings than anyone I know. Yes, this was my first of 2025, but I did have 4 last year. So if you're counting in the career of Watch D.A Live, this is the 5th. But, when you go to Marquette and you have some friends get married at a earlier age in the Midwest area, especially in Wisconsin, it's more excuse to have some spotted cow and a little bit more extra fun.
I also like this by Randy Trask. Delta 9 Brian, those are inhale cocktails that you're having. Yeah, that's what Delta 9 Brian does. A lot of the gummies, the inhale cocktails, very good. I know we are underway in Buffalo right now, so let's step aside here right after our Little Mo laugh of the day. We always end off with this, and Little Mo laugh of the day comes to us from MetLife Stadium, where the giant American flag was rolled out, obviously for opening day, and somehow, some way, some guy got stuck on the top of the flag. How is this even possible? When you roll out the flag like this, everybody holds one of the ends. If for some reason you're not holding one of the end, how are you on the inside of the flag and not the outside of the flag? When it starts getting unfolded, how again do you not step off onto the side of the flag and you remain on it? Was he unfolded from the middle? Did he step into the flag and just keep going towards the middle of the flag? Did he not realize what was happening? Or was he dragged into it like some type of vortex? This physically doesn't seem to make any sense. A man found himself on top of the flag and not near the edge. He had to crawl to the edge. Something terribly wrong with that. And we know the little Mo is smiling, cackling, and laughing. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for being part of the show. I will see you tomorrow morning for the DA show with the Babchick on Mad Dog Sports Radio. I will see you Tuesday night here on the YouTube channel for Ask DA Anything. And tonight after the Sunday Night Football game, I'm going live with Bill Matic post-game reaction. Thanks to Aiden Hatton, the Marquette Marvel. Thanks to you, the D-Aliens. I'll see you then. For all of you and for all of us, be good and be good to one another. I'm DA. The mothership disconnects.